Good evening, you're watching Estuary TV News. Coming up, a community in Hull gets a little more money to care for elderly Hullensians, and coming out of their shells, chicks in science classes in South Ferriby. And I'll be talking to Christine Johnson about healthy walking in North Lincolnshire. Welcome to Estuary TV News. I'm Hugh Richards. First of all, it's over to James Dunn for the news headlines.
Hello there, I'm James Dunn and here are today's headlines. Withensea and the Holderness coast towns are vitally important to the country's fishing industry. That's according to East Riding councillor who was speaking at the opening of a new slipway for the town's fishermen. Over £1.6 million has been spent on the project, which also includes a new commercial fishing boat compound. Previously, local fishermen had to transport their boats along a busy promenade, a round trip of over 300 metres. Councillor Jane Everson believes this is part of the council's commitment to the regeneration of Withensea.
It's such an important industry to this coastline and one that isn't actually recognised as much as it should be. We provide from this coastline greatest amount of shell fishing, crab and lobster, which is, a lot of it is exported. So tremendously important to the fishing industry, which has existed on this coastline for many, many years. Very important to the livelihood of many people.
A cricketer from Withensea has been found safe and well after going missing for over a week. Police have thanked the public for their help after 29-year-old Daniel Collinson was found in Scotland. The Shadow Justice Minister has said there's doubt over claims Grimsby MP Austin Mitchell said the party could win the seat with an alcoholic sex paedophile. Barnsley MP Dan Jarvis visited Grimsby in support of Melanie On, who's standing in the upcoming election as Mitchell's retiring. A Sunday paper quoted Mitchell as saying Labour would win the seat no matter what, but Jarvis wouldn't say if they were worried about the seat, but said that Melanie was a great candidate and believes Mitchell's quotes were taken out of context.
I think there's a bit of doubt about what Austin actually said. I mean, I think when I talk to people here on the doorstep, this is my second visit in just a couple of weeks, what they want is a true champion for Grimsby, someone who's going to stand up for them in Parliament and make sure that they're properly represented and that their voice is heard. And in Mel On, I think she's someone who would do that very effectively, and that's why I'm here to support her. And
finally, Beverley's new Southern Relief Road opens to the public today. The 2.8 kilometre stretch of road is expected to carry 13,000 vehicles a day and reduce congestion in the town. There'll be more on that and other stories in tomorrow's bulletin, so until then, bye for now.
Thanks, James. Hull City Council has contributed £10,000 to a community centre in Endyke, hoping the money will be enough to secure the future. Dave Nunn reports.
Just like so many other community centres, Endyke Community Care Centre has been struggling in hard financial times, which is why they were pleased to receive a £10,000 grant from Hull City Council.
We have. It's been absolutely fabulous, really. It's our dream. Our dream is to have our own transport so that we can help and enable people to come to the centre, take them out on trips, etc. And it's a luxury item, and we obviously wouldn't be able to do that without the help and support of Hull City Council. It's been absolutely fabulous to think that they've actually recognised what we do and what we want to do, and come and present us, the good people of the centre, with such a big cheque.
Community services have come under strain due to budget cuts cutting funding or causing closures. Stephen Brady, Hull City Council's leader, says the council can sympathise with the situations of groups such as the Endyke group and finds it satisfying when they can help.
That's the good thing about being leader of the council, and when you've got the ability to be able to do this, and coming from just the same sort of background as many of the people on these estates, that I really do understand the problems that people face, and it's so nice to be able to do something about it.
For the Endyke Community Care Group, it's a vital addition that will allow them to change services to better provide for their users.
It's actually essential in a lot of ways. It's essential for us to go forward, and this is going to help and enable us to do that. Obviously, we haven't touched our target, but we are, the biggest part of the way there, and so it is going to enable us a lot to do all the things that we've wanted to do for such a long time.
You're watching Estuary TV News. A little later, we'll be looking at another hound in need of a home with our regular Dog of the Week. And Dan Kemp will bring you all the sports news. Walking is easy, cheap and healthy. We have some of the most beautiful countryside in England and most of us need more exercise. To draw some conclusions from these facts, I'm joined now by Christine Johnson, Health Walks Coordinator for North Lincolnshire Council. Christine, hello. Thank you very much for coming in. Yes, I was going to ask, did you walk here?
No,
okay.
Too far.
A little bit far, isn't it? You've got this system of organised walks going on in North Lincolnshire. Tell me a little bit about that.
It's part of the Walking the Way to Health group, which is a countrywide project throughout England. We provide led health walks throughout all of North Lincolnshire.
There's walks with a leader,
yes.
Not walks carrying lead weights.
No, walks with a leader.
Okay.
All the leaders are volunteers that we use. We have over 50 volunteer walk leaders.
And you have these walks how often?
The walks take place every day of the week apart from Saturday.
And they can be of varying distances?
Varying distances. We usually start with short walks, which are about up to a mile, and the longest walks that we do are 5 miles.
Well, before we get into the details of that, why is it important to get people on their feet?
Most people are not physically active enough, but walking, as well as the physical activity, it also brings mental health benefits and helps to reduce depression amongst people.
Why is it that we don't get enough exercise? Why are we not physically active enough?
People don't tend to class walking as part of an exercise programme, but walking is one of the best exercises that can be done because it's low impact.
Right. But it only exercises your legs, really, doesn't it? I mean, the rest of your body is abandoned.
Yeah, no, the rest of your body can be exercised depending on how brisk a walk you do.
You said it has, I mean, it's good for the circulation, it's good for the heart, it's good for the lungs. Does it do anything? I mean, I really can't think that it's good for your hearing or good for, I don't know, your skin conditions or anything like that, is it?
Not necessarily for them, but it has many health benefits. It also prevents osteoporosis and osteoarthritis, and it also does have health benefits for people who have got cancer.
Well, yes, I noticed that. I was going to ask about that. It seems very strange that just a gentle exercise like this, maybe getting ever so slightly puffed, ever so slightly out of breath, that has consequences for people who are already suffering from cancer. That has health benefits. It
has health benefits, and it can help the mental health, because people suffering with cancer obviously do get more depression and that through having an illness.
Well, it's a very logical response, isn't it, to be a little bit down about that. So what other mental health benefits does it have?
Just being out in the environment, it's like a green exercise, and anybody who gets out in the environment benefits from being outside in the fresh air.
It's just a matter of seeing different sights, of having a bit of activity, of your senses being opened up.
And it's also being with groups. You're with people, you socialise.
Well, I was going to ask about that. It's part of the benefit of it is that you can all go for a walk on your own anytime we like, but it's going for a walk with other people. That's a bit more cheerful, a bit more gregarious.
Absolutely, and a lot of people, especially the elderly people, don't like to be out walking by themselves. They don't feel safe to walk by themselves. If you come along, join a group walk, you're with other people and you're in a safe surrounding.
And this is a way of meeting other people, I guess,
Absolutely.
Isn't it? This is forming friendships and...
yes, and socialise. They do get to go on holidays together as well, some of the people, and they do make lasting friendships.
Is there a possibility while on these walks, led walks as you said, I always think that a walk is very much more enjoyable if at some point during the duration of the travel there is a public house.
Some of our walks do start at public houses. We don't particularly advertise them as being pub walks, but a lot of our walks as well, we have village halls and church halls that'll put on refreshments after the walks, so people can get to socialise after the walks in that way as well.
There's a distance of, on the whole, they're about 3 miles, aren't they?
Yes, yes.
The longest ones are 5. 5 miles seems about, I mean, that's a good afternoon's exercise, isn't it?
About 2 hours for 5 miles, 2.5 hours. We do have stops and breaks for people to catch the breath or admire the scenery and look at the views.
And this is over what sort of countryside? I mean, in some parts of our areas, in south of the River Humber anyway, It's awfully flat. There's not much chance of getting puffed.
Yeah, in North Lincolnshire we do have 1 or 2 hills, but because the Walking the Way to Health scheme is throughout the whole of England, you could be up on the Yorkshire Dales, the Yorkshire Moors. You can be in hilly areas as well with the national scheme.
And it's particularly beautiful parts of the country as well. I'm afraid nobody would say that Scunthorpe looks like Florence or Paris. It's not a particularly beautiful town, but your walks aren't in the town itself. You're going out.
We do have walks within Scunthorpe, but we do a 30-mile radius, so we do the whole of North Lincolnshire. That can be anywhere from Barton, it can be Barrow, it can be the Isle of Axholme, so it's 30-mile radius from Scunthorpe.
Now this scheme, Walking for Health Walking...
North Lincolnshire is Walking the Way to Health in North Lincolnshire, but the national scheme is Walking for Health.
And that's operated throughout the country. It's as part of a government-sponsored idea?
It's run by the Ramblers, and Macmillan Cancer support the national scheme.
Well, that's interested me as well. I mean, coming back to that cancer thing, Macmillan's is supporting this. Obviously, it has a good effect on people already overcoming cancer, but it has a preventative aspect as well.
Yes, walking can have a preventative aspect for people, well, for breast cancer and also for bowel cancer.
And the Ramblers involved in this, why aren't they doing it themselves? Why isn't it just another kind of rambling?
Because it's too short for the Ramblers. The Ramblers walks normally start at 8 miles.
They're snobbish about this, are they?
No, definitely not. No, we have a good working relationship with the Scunthorpe and District Ramblers, which is why we've put on 5-mile walks as joint walks. There's
some sort of hierarchy here I can see between, at my end of the scale, the stroll, and then perhaps the ramble, and then for the really serious people, the hikers. Is there a sort of aristocracy of Shanks's pony here?
Normally people start off on short walks and progress, but it also works the other ways. People that have been walking up mountains then come down and could end up on the Walking the Way to Health walks.
What sort of people are there in these groups?
We get people from all walks of life, every walk of life there is, and also children can attend with parents. The majority of our walkers are retired or early retirement, but the eldest walker is 92.
Christine, must stop there for a moment. Please don't go away. We'll talk more about this in a couple of minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Staff and pupils at one of our local primary schools have been surprised to meet some fluffy visitors. South Ferriby students now have some new classmates in the form of 8 chicks as part of a 10-day experience to learn about life cycles and handling and caring for animals. Dan Kemp had an excellent time as he went to find out more, and he wrote that, not me.
In the classroom isn't the first place you'd think to look for 8 chicks, but the children of South Ferriby are enjoying having some new company.
I really enjoy seeing them because every playtime you can just come down into this classroom and just enjoy watching them, and you can watch them grow since they've been in the eggs. It's just great.
I enjoyed it because, again, like at playtimes you can come down, like you're fascinated to watch them, and they're really good.
I've enjoyed it a lot because we could just watch the chicks from the eggs and then to the chicks as well, which was good.
Okay, and how much have you enjoyed it?
I like the chicks fluffy.
The Living Eggs Company supplied the eggs, but the children didn't know what was inside. Guesses ranged from dinosaurs to penguins and allowed imagination to flow. The experience for the kids is something that teachers at the school felt was vital.
We didn't want to just say, oh, we're going to have chicks. So basically, they just came up with such imagination. Somebody said they thought there might be angry birds in there, you know, a big variety of suggestions. They love it. They can see it from being the egg. We got lots of writing experience from it. They were so excited, and then when they did eventually start opening up and seeing there was chicks, you know, they were just fascinated.
And they've gone down a real treat.
It's taught me a bit more of how to look after pets and a lot about that.
I've learned, like, when a chick first hatches, it doesn't look as fluffy as what it is. It has to dry off first. I've learned that.
Okay, what have you learned?
They look so fluffy that I already want to hold them.
Christine Johnson, Health Walks Coordinator for North Lincolnshire Council, is still with me. Christine, We were talking about the health benefits a little earlier on, and we were talking about the fact that maybe the people who come along to your walks are over 60 on the whole?
The majority of them are, but we do have younger people come along now as well.
Quite apart from the health benefits, it's as a mode of transport, walking is fairly environmentally friendly.
Absolutely, yes. Walking is environmentally friendly, and anybody can do it. There's no cost involved, and you need very little equipment.
I mean, I often, one reason one hears that people say flying is the safest form of travel, and I think they underestimate the safety of walking there.
Yes.
And especially in groups, as you said earlier, there's that safety in numbers aspect of it. But there's the appreciation of the environment, appreciation of the countryside. You can't really do that from a car, can you?
You never see the same from a car window. Yeah, the things that you see when you're out walking and out in the countryside are things that you'd miss if you was in a car or on a bus.
How many people do you get?
On an average week, an average month, we get about 900 attendances. Obviously, the same person can come more than once.
And you've had last year, I think, was a particularly good year?
Last year, we had 10,710 people attend the walks.
That is quite a significant percentage of the population of North Lincolnshire, isn't it? It's
absolutely.
Coming along.
Yeah.
What else should people do to just give themselves that sort of minimal level of activity to remain fit?
Yeah, 30 minutes a day is recommended. 5 days a week, at a rate whereby your heart gets beating a little faster and your body gets warmer. And
it's a good idea maybe just to get a little bit out of breath?
Yes, slightly.
Okay.
Not too much out of breath, or
right.
else you might have an underlying illness.
Right, okay. So if you get so far out of breath that you can't actually breathe, that's a bad sign.
You should always be able to walk and talk.
There's a great tradition. Oh, good. That's the minimum, I would hope. There's a great tradition that walking is a great stirrer up of creativity. That the activity of walking gets the brain and the mind and the soul going. Charles Dickens was famous for going off on these enormous sort of 15-mile hikes every afternoon, and to go and think about what he was going to write and to get those words into his head. Yeah. Is there any science behind that at all?
I've no idea about that, to tell you the truth. I've no idea at all. I know a lot of creative people do use walking, especially more the artist types, to take in this countryside and the views and to do the painting and that.
Who plans the walks? Who sorts out the guidance here?
I have volunteer walk leaders who actually plan out the actual walk routes. Myself, I put together a full programme of all the walks that we do throughout North Lincolnshire, and we do 3 monthly programmes. And myself, I go out and recce every single walk to make sure that it's safe before we actually use the walks.
These volunteers, are you looking for more volunteers?
We're always on the lookout for volunteers, always.
So how should people, either if they want to come on the walks with you or if they want to be volunteers, how should they get in contact with you?
If anybody wants to be a volunteer or wants to join us on any of our group-led walks, they can contact me at Christine Johnson. The telephone number is 077 1758 6380. Or they can email me at Christine as in full stop, Johnson at northlinks.gov.uk.
What happens? You get told where the rendezvous is and you turn up to that spot?
Yeah, what we do is if somebody contacted me, I could send them out the full programme of all the walks that we do. And you turn up at the start point of any walk. All walks are totally free. On your first attendance, you do need to get there 10 minutes early just to fill in a health questionnaire.
You encourage car sharing, which seems very sensible.
We do encourage car sharing if you need to use the car.
What other equipment would people be needing to take? I mean, do you need to have great stout boots and a walking stick?
The majority of our walks, if you had a decent pair of trainers, we do like to recommend that people do have a pair of walking boots, but you don't have to pay hundreds of pounds for your boots. You can get a cheap pair of walking boots which will suffice for the 3-mile walks that we do. So the only equipment you need is a decent pair of stout shoes or trainers and waterproof clothing.
And I know you said anybody can come along and it tends to be fairly aged, but can you bring along a child? Can you bring along a dog?
You can bring children, you can bring dogs. So it's 1 or 2 of the walks that we do that are through nature reserves, which in the programme says no dogs allowed. But we also do specific walks as well, whereby people in wheelchairs and people with walking aids, can come along to them as well. But you do need to check the programme or check with me as to which is suitable.
You've done all these walks, Christine. Which one's your favourite?
I like one at Haxey Turbury on the Isle of Axholme because it goes through some rare breed farm, rare breed animals.
So that's and it's it's a zoological walk as well as a
yes, probably, yeah.
Christine, I'm sure I'll be joining you on one of those soon enough. Thank you very much for coming in. Thank you, Christine. Now here's the sport with Dan Kemp.
Hull City manager Steve Bruce has said he's delighted to have signed a new contract with the club. He signed for the Tigers back in 2012 and is widely regarded as the club's most successful manager, having gained promotion in his first season and then taken the club to their first ever FA Cup final and a brief foray into Europe. And you'll be able to hear more from Steve Bruce in tomorrow's bulletin. Yorkshire County Cricket Club have headed out to Abu Dhabi today to begin the outdoor preparation for this year's county championship. The Tykes won the competition last season and look to kick-start this year with a win against an MCC 11. They also have a 2020 competition to take part in during the fortnight-long trip. Elsewhere in football, Scunthorpe United midfielder Dave Sayers has been training for the first time since sustaining a serious knee injury at the start of the season. He was told he would miss the remainder of the 2014-15 campaign, having suffered serious damage to his knee ligaments and hamstring against Swindon back in August, but has now been able to participate in training for the first time. And finally, in the Northern Counties East Premier last night, Barton Town Old Boys won 3-2 at home to Tadcaster Albion, Scott Phillips with 2 and Danny Chambers with the other. And this weekend, Barton Town are at home, whilst Cleethorpes Town have a home tie as well. In Division 1, the home games for Hall Road Rangers and Winterton. Meanwhile, Louth, Bottisford and Grimsby Borough are all away. Don't hesitate to get in touch if you've got any sports stories you want to share with us. Contact us on Twitter or Facebook by searching @Estuary TV or by calling 01472 31 553. And that's all for the sport.
Time now to find a home for another of our lovely dogs of the week.
He's a staffy. We don't know any details about this dog, but we do think that it could have been spayed at some stage because it is fairly chunky. She doesn't like other dogs, so obviously somebody really needs to think about if they can give this dog an home where they're not going to come against other dogs, but obviously if they're kept on a lead and kept away from others, they'll be fine. So that's another one for rehoming.
And get in touch with Sangreet Kennels if you're interested. I am. That's all we have time for today, I'm afraid. If you have a story for us, please go to Facebook or Twitter pages. Details on the screen. Email news@estuary.tv or phone Grimsby 31553. Until tomorrow, good evening.
Hello and welcome to Estuary TV's weather. Outbreaks of rain on Friday with further sleet or wet snow on hills. It's going to clear from the east during the day with some bright or sunny intervals in the afternoon and a maximum temperature of 8 degrees. Saturday is going to stay mostly cloudy with a few scattered showers.